Hi, well, welcome to Diamond Delight. I'm back, guys. I bet some of you were really surprised when your little ding-a-ling went off and saw that it was a notification from my channel. Yeah, I know. Where have I been for the last year? So first, before I forget, I really want to thank the people that have reached out over this year or a year and a half, however long I've been kind of MIA, that have reached out and asked how I was doing and if anybody heard from me, and that meant so much to me. And you guys are a lot of the reasons why I decided to come back to my channel. As well as I needed to earn an income and didn't want to work for minimum wage and have to drive 45 minutes, and went, well, you're dumb because you have a YouTube channel that you could just start up again. And hopefully you guys will join me on a slightly new way of doing the channel. So I wanted to let you know going forward here, it's just going to be a couple little changes. The name, I'm going to be dropping the edible part of my name, so it's just going to be Diamond Delights, and we'll be cooking up all kinds of delights. So in the videos themselves, I'm going to be just using regular ingredients, but in the description below, I will always put what you can use to infuse that particular recipe. And if there are different steps because of that ingredient being incorporated, I will put the steps on how to do that down in the descriptions, as I said. Otherwise, if it's just an ingredient, so splitting up an ingredient, for example, a cup of butter in a recipe, you want half a cup of infused butter and half a cup of regular butter. They're going to cream up with sugar the exact same way. You don't need any separate directions with regards to just using it as an ingredient. So I will let you know how you can incorporate your elevated ingredients in the, like I said, in the description below. But going forward on video here, I'm just going to be using regular ingredients and kind of cooking all kinds of wonderful recipes, baking and cooking, and I don't know, whatever comes to my mind. All right, so where was I going with this? Yeah, and the thought bus just took off that way, and I'm going this way. Hold on. So yeah, so there's a few reasons why I decided to flip up my channel a little bit. One, because I don't want a reason for YouTube to just be able to shut my channel down without any warning or anything. That was quite shocking when that happened a while ago. And that did not make me a happy camper whatsoever. So I didn't want to be in that predicament again. And the other is half my videos get dinged for not being monetized. So I want the content that I make going forward, I would like to have the opportunity for it to be monetized. And the only way I can ensure that is by doing what I'm going to be doing. So I hope you're okay with that. I really hope you stick with me and follow me for lots of yummy, wonderful recipes. All right, so I'm going to show you what we're going to be making today. We'll jump right into the ingredients, of course, what we're going to need and how to do it. All right, thanks again so much, guys. It feels really good to be back, and I hope you feel the same.
Today we'll be making these adorable heart sugar cookies.
So the ingredients that we are going to need for these adorable cookies is 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of butter. So that's nice. That uses a lot of butter, so you can split that up any way that you want to. 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, room temperature. Always make sure that your butter and your eggs are room temperature for baking. 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And some red food coloring for our hearts, or you can use pink. Or if you want to be really, really adventurous, you can make up the color of the rainbow and have rainbow cookies. But hey, I'm just doing the red. And that's it for our ingredients. We don't need much for equipment either. So just a stand mixer if you've got it, or not. You can do it by hand or a regular mixer. A cookie sheet, a cooling rack, parchment paper, which I do not have, and realized that when I started this video and not able to go out and grab some. So definitely, I recommend using parchment paper. I'm going to wing it today with cooking spray. Let's hope for the best. They don't stick. Gonna need your trusty Yeah, these thingamajiggers. And your heart cutter. So you want to make it small, about that size. Guess you can see that. Can you see that? I'll come closer. I'm blind as a bat, so I can't see anyway. So about that size. And then I have just a circular cutter as well if I need to clean up the edges, but we may not need that. Oh, and we'll also need a rolling pin. Ta-da! Here's my rolling pin. I knew I forgot something. I always forget something. Anyway, I think that's everything. Well, that's our most important things that we need. So let's jump in and let's get these cookies made. So, sorry, I did forget another thing. And you wanted some saran wrap or plastic wrap. All right, so the first thing that we do, which you generally do with any cookie recipe, is we're going to cream our butter and our sugar together. A spatula would be helpful. Ta-da! I found a little one at least. Better than nothing. So in goes our butter, and in goes our sugar, and our 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we are going to put that on medium for about 2 minutes. Let that butter get whipped up nice and light, and sugar. Yum, yum. All right, so I'm going to put this. And partway through, you always want to stop and scrape down your edges to make sure that everything is getting mixed in well. Now, also what we're going to do, how much noise do you make? Yeah, I'll wait on that for a second. What you want to do is to your dried ingredients, to our flour, we're going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Never pour your salt over your mixing bowl. Yeah, because if you have overspill, you can't pull it out. So we've got our 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, our 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and our teaspoon of baking powder. Into our dry ingredients. Grab a whisk and whisk that in for a bit to get that nicely all mixed in so we don't end up with patches of salt or baking powder in one particular bite. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right, so we're going to cream our butter here for about 2 minutes on medium high, and I'll be back. Don't forget to stop and scrape down those edges. You want to make sure you get everything off the edge down back into the center. Otherwise, it won't mix up properly. Everything won't be evenly mixed. Scrape down these sides off the paddle and keep her going. And you'll want to do that at least 1 or 2 more times. All right, so our butter is nice and light. See how light that is? It's almost white. Off. Get off my paddle. So we're going to scrape down. We're going to scrape down the bowl, and we're going to now be adding our eggs, and we're going to add in 1 egg at a time. Put my paddle back on. And you want to add 1 egg at a time, and we want to mix the dough just until the egg gets incorporated. We don't want to be over mixing it now. And like always, we got to scrape down the edges. Whoop. We don't need the eggshell. That was almost a big ups. I'm just going to mix that up just a little bit more. Make sure to get that egg properly incorporated. It's still a little patchy. Just want to make sure so you don't see any more shiny. You don't see the shiny from the egg. And then we're going to add in our second egg. Ta-da! Yeah, I should have cleaned the paddle at that point, but I'll do it in a minute. Ooh, too fast. Now, if you find that your sugar and egg here is, it looks a little bit separated and that, don't worry. Once we add the flour in, it'll all fully mix. Give that a little bit more. That look good. That's looking good. You see on the paddle here? Hold on. Whoop, don't fall. You see it there. So it kind of looks a little bit like cottage cheese. So don't worry about that. That'll smooth right out as soon as we add in our flour. Our flour and our salt. Our little dry mixture there. And now it is time to add in our tray. So we want to do this in stages as well. You don't want to add it in all at one time because you may not necessarily need all of the flour. But so we're going to add it in probably about 3 batches or so. So I guess about a third each. Each time add a third of your dry ingredient. I'm just going to mix that until it does this. And then we can add in some more of our dry ingredients. Guys, never good with fractions. So again, we're going to mix that until I'm just going to get that mixed in, and we're going to add in the rest of our dry. And I'm going to get the paddle open. Scrape down our edges. And after your 2.5 cups are added in, if your dough is still too wet or too sticky, you can add in small amounts of flour until you get the right cookie dough consistency, which is nice and smooth without any kind of sticky or tacky feeling. And our cookie dough is coming together. Whew. All right, that's looking pretty good. Like I said, we don't want to overmix our cookie dough. So it's all come together here. Let's see how she feels. Feels pretty good. She comes away from the bowl nicely, so it's not all sticking. See, the bowl's nice and clean, or pretty clean from the dough. That's how you know that your dough is good to go. That rhymed. I amuse myself. All right, so we're gonna split out some of this dough to make our hearts, and let's get that in there. Move that off to the side. Give me a second here to clean up, and I'll be right back. All right, so you're going to want to sprinkle a little bit of flour on your working surface. And we are going to just give that a little roll in the flour. So that's a nice looking cookie dough, if I do say so myself. All right, so we are going to take off about a quarter. I think that should be good. So about a quarter of your dough, and leaving 3/4, we're going to just cover that and leave it off to the side for a few minutes. We don't want it to dry out while we're working on our hearts. All right, you just chill there for a bit. All right, so now we are going to make our heart. Oh, I guess it would help if I colored it. Duh. So this is what happens when you don't make videos for about a year. I forget the heck what I'm supposed to be doing all the time. All right, I'm just going to add some color to this. Oh, actually, I'm going to shake that up first. It's been sitting for a while. All right. Red dye. Let's go. So I just poked a hole in here, and I'm going to pour a few drops of, oops, that's a little bit more than a few drops. I'm going to put some color in that middle of that hole there, and then I'm going to start working it through, and I'm going to get red dye all over my hands. Now I could have put it back in the mixer there and mixed in the color, but oh well. Okay, I'm going to not dye my counter red. Honestly, my brain sometimes just does not engage properly. I'm going to lay some plastic wrap down on the counter here so that the red food coloring doesn't go all over my counter. Again, we want to try and get that mixed in as quickly as we can, because you don't really want to overwork your dough too much. That's got to work better. So when you do this, you'd want to split off your cookie dough, take out your the 3/4, set it aside, and then add your food coloring to the dough, the rest of the dough that's in the mixer. But I'll get there eventually. I think having that marbled effect could look kind of cool. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. Let's see what happens. Sure, why not? All right, then we're gonna roll out our dough. Rolling pin, add some flour to the rolling pin. The cookie dough. And we want to roll this out to about a 1/4 inch. About a 1/4 inch thick. It doesn't have to be perfect here because we're going to put all the hearts together and just make one kind of long, solid heart, so to speak. So it doesn't matter if it's they're all exactly even because they're all getting stuck together. Now, to make it life easier to work with that, we're going to pop that into the fridge for about 20 minutes. Put another piece of plastic wrap over top of it. Cover her up. Slip it onto your cookie sheet or something, or some other flat surface, and slide her into your fridge for, as I said, for about 20 minutes should be good, and then we can cut them out nice and easily. And as also for the remainder of the rest of your main cookie dough, we can pop that into the fridge as well. Make sure it's well sealed up here, because you said you don't want your cookie dough to dry out. So I always double wrap. All right, we'll see you back here in about 20 minutes. Not that that means anything in video language. Alrighty, so here we go. My red dough here is nice and firm. I'm going to take off one side of this plastic wrap. Grab my little heart cutter. Why am I having such troubles with English? Wow. And you want to just cut out your hearts. So you want to be gentle removing it from the mold here. You don't want them broken. One. And we're going to be gluing them together. So you want to get a cup with some water and just a little tiny drop of water, like very, very little. Put it on one side of the cookie dough and line up your other heart and stick her to it. You want to work gently. You don't want to be squishing the hearts out of shape. Cut my another one. A little tiny drop of water. Line up my heart. And I'll just continue doing that. Now we want to get about that high in hearts. I hope I made enough of the red dough. I guess we'll find out soon enough. I feel like a kid playing with Play-Doh. Look how high I can build my tower. And when you can't cut any more of your hearts, collect your dough and roll it out again. this out again. Leave a little flour for the surface here. Yeah, you don't have to go quite that thin. Originally I said about a 1/4 inch. You don't need to go that thin, considering we're cutting them out and stacking them on top of each other. Now, if your dough gets too soft, if it starts getting, if it's too soft to work with, just pop her back into the fridge for a few minutes and we'll firm her back up again. I'm going to just go with it. Looking good. So this is how you want your heart stack to be looking. Like that. Just one big stack of hearts. And I can get a couple more out of this dough here. It's looking a little bit like a leaning Tower of Pisa. Just like me, a little wonky. And if you've seen my videos, previous videos, you know I am not Martha Stewart. There we go. So that is my hearts. That looks pretty good for amount of cookies. Now we're going to take some fresh saran wrap, wherever she went, plastic wrap. And I'm going to gently lay the hearts down here on their side. Wrap them up. And we're going to pop these into the freezer for about 20 minutes. We want them to freeze up pretty solid. You can take your ends here. Now we'll get it all stuck with the cookie dough. So I'm going to pop this into my freezer, like I said, for 20 minutes. And then we're going to surround it with our regular cookie dough. And we'll go from there. So in the meanwhile, you can keep your regular cookie dough in the fridge. Well, I will see you back here. Oh, that was lovely. Stuck my bag of flour in water. Really? Oh. Honestly, I'm surprised I do not hurt myself more often. All right, I'll see you back here in about 20 minutes. Again, that means absolutely nothing in video time. All right, so our hearts are ready. Pretty frozen. We're gonna unwrap these. And we're gonna now get a regular dough. We're gonna build like a little wall around our hearts here. So take off a piece of dough here. We're gonna kind of roll it out in a bit of a rope. If you find it's breaking apart too easily, let it warm up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to get the top of my heart here, the indent for the top part. Let's just fill this in. So we want to push down so that our cookie dough is getting right into that line of the hearts. Like so. Came apart a bit. All right, I'll stick together in the end. So just work your other dough around so that it's even-ish. I'm gonna roll the whole thing into a big log. We're doing it this way so that we make sure that the hearts completely encased in the cookie dough so that the hearts come out in proper shape. Hopefully. That's the goal, at least. All right, just out of the way. Get a little flour for the surface. So I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to roll in our cookie dough. And we're going to roll this out to about a 1/4 inch. And I'm going to take our little heart roll here, and I'm going to roll this. So you want to roll it so it's all covered. Scoop away the excess. So you can just make regular sugar cookies with these. You can just cut out any shape that you want with the excess. So now that I've got that all covered up, we want to gently roll so this all comes together and doesn't fall apart like that. I'm just going to get a knife here and cut off this excess here at the end here. Alright, so now I'm going to grab some fresh plastic wrap. Lay our roll. Roll that up like so. And you got the ends here, and you're gonna zippity-doo all these ends, twist them so it's nice and tight. And now you can roll your dough. And there we go. Now we have a nice smooth roll. Hopefully the hearts are still intact in there. Guess we'll find out soon enough. We're gonna pop this into the freezer for 20 minutes, half hour or so. Let it really nice firm up, and then we're gonna get slicing, and hopefully they worked out well. All right, see you soon. The anticipation is killing me. Like I said, if you want, you can definitely just roll this out and use whatever cutter you like and just make some regular sugar cookies with that, with the excess. Or you can just wrap it up, put it in your fridge for a couple of days till you want to make some more. Whatever you float your boat. All right, I'll see you soon. So our cookie dough is frozen. You want to preheat your oven at 350 degrees. Then you want to get a sharp knife, and we're going to unroll our cookie dough. And I've sprayed my cookie sheet with cooking spray. Like I said, recommend using parchment paper. All right, let's hopefully these turned out. So the butt piece here is not going to have, you just want to, oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. Ah, I'm so excited. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't 100% sure on that. So now you want to cut your cookies about a quarter inch thick. You just want to slice them as evenly as you can and put them on your cookie tray. Shush. A little wonky, but not too bad. Not too bad for a first try there. I've done other designs. I haven't done a heart. So yeah, so it's important that your knife is sharp so that you don't squish your cookie while cutting. You want it to slice through nicely. Everything I do is always on a slant. I don't know why. Again, probably that I'm just a little slanted. Oops. Get a little bit of a get some failure here. So yeah, this what happens with the dough. It isn't filled in all, and there's gaps. That's what can happen. That's how we learn from our mistakes. And my oven has already preheated, so I am going to pop these into the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, or until they're just lightly golden brown. Just very lightly. You know what sugar cookies look like. That won't work, That might work. All right, so pop these in, I said, for 10 to 12 minutes, and then we'll be back to check them out. And you always want to use the middle rack. Well, not always, but for this cookie recipe, you want to use the middle rack. And here's our cookies. Now, I made mine a little too thick, a little too big, but I will definitely know what to do better next time. That's what you do. You said you learn from your mistakes, so going forward, but other than that, they turned out really nice. The hearts have great shapes. I'm just going to wait for these to cool and then transfer them to our cooling rack and then give them a try. And there we go. We're all done. So it said you want them just light brown like this. Just light brown. Just light golden. So other than being a little wonky, but they turned out pretty good. So I want to thank everybody for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And there will be lots more to come in the future, and I look forward to creating all new content for you. Thanks again. Have a wonderful, awesome day.